Shalom, this is Rabbi Jeremy Lawrence. On Shavuot we read the book of Ruth, which has a number of connections with the festival. Nonetheless, as the Midrash points out, the book doesn't teach us a single halacha. It doesn't contain issues of purity or impurity, nor prohibitions or permissions. So why was it written? To teach us the magnitude of the reward for those who bestow loving kindness on others. The Megillah opens with telling us that in the days when judges judged, there was a famine in Israel. A man leaves Bethlehem in Judah to settle in Moab. We're then told of his identity. He was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the names of his two sons were Machlon and Chilion. They stayed there, and he died. As we know, Abraham and Jacob had left Israel when there was a famine, and returned richer and stronger. On the face of it, Elimelech has strong precedents. However, the Gemara states, Rav Shimon ben Yochai said, Elimelech, Machlon, and Chilion were the greatest of their generation, and the sustainers of their generation. And why were they punished? Because they departed from the land of Israel. How does Shimon bar Yochai reach such a judgmental conclusion? How does he determine that this is a punishment, and not some sorry death of hungry refugees? Why did Elimelech choose Moab? It's thought strange that someone would go to Moab at a time of famine. The Moabites had a reputation as an unfriendly, uncharitable people. It was their refusal to feed the wandering children of Israel that saw them vilified in the Torah. Was Elimelech's the only family to leave? It does seem that everyone else stayed in Bethlehem. Moreover, when Naomi eventually returns, we don't see that she's given a rapturous welcome or that people go out of their way to assist her. So the rabbis determine that Elimelech was not driven out by hunger. On the contrary, he is described as an ish, a man of substance. His family had been affluent and able to provide for everyone else. They left through meanness of character. Elimelech had not wanted to share the burden of care for his place of birth. Several midrashim depict Elimelech as the stingy, recalcitrant, potential sustainer. Why was Elimelech punished, asks the Midrash. Elimelech was amongst the greatest people in the country, and was one of the sustainers of his generation. And when the years of famine came, he said, Now all of Israel will surround my doorway, this one with his tzedakah box, and this one with his tzedakah box. So he stood up and fled from them. It's possible that the rabbis are hinting at the biblical symmetry. Judah, and a fail to step up? Doesn't that ring a bell? Hadn't Judah failed to rescue his brother Joseph and instigated his sale into exile by appealing to the others, What profit if we kill him? Let us sell him instead. And hadn't Judah eventually found himself humbled and begging for grain when the famine hit? In the interim, Judah had moved away from his family. 2 of his sons had died. Judah was seduced by his daughter-in-law Tamar and fathered twins. The oldest of these was Peretz. Peretz, another familiar name. At the very end of the Megillah, we discover that Peretz is the great-great-great-great-grandfather of Boaz. Both Boaz and Ruth model loving kindness. In Ruth's case, we see her loyalty to Naomi, even though Ruth must abandon her homeland. Boaz instructs his workers to be even more charitable than normal, leaving extra grain for Ruth to glean, clearly at the expense of his profits. The Megillah ends by telling us that Ruth and Boaz are the great-grandparents of King David, first monarch of the redemptive Messianic house. Within the Megillah and in its allusions, the message of Ruth is clear. We're called upon to be demonstrably kind, to give of ourselves to others, to contribute rather than run from community. Of course, the world would be an easier place if we all just received whatever we wanted whenever we wanted it. It's our ability to reach out to others when they are in need that makes it a godly place and makes us godly people. Let's seek out those opportunities and not be blind to hunger and homelessness. It's overseas, it's in Israel, and it's also on our doorsteps. Let us show our loving kindness in actions, not just words. Seek out those opportunities and give of ourselves. This is Rabbi Jeremy Lawrence wishing you a Chag Sameach.